Welcome to Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself, a podcast where we explore the complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. Join Charlie Perry and Marvin Speller when life's unexpected twists and turns come our way. It's easy to lose ourselves in the process, but what if losing ourselves is exactly what we need to find our true selves? Join us as we dive into the depths of human experience, sharing stories, insights, and conversations that will challenge, inspire, and maybe even help you find your way again. Sometimes you have to lose yourself. Let's get started.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself. My name is Charlie Perry, and my host there, Coach M100, who is Marvin Speller, the author of Unpacking Grief, Shattered to Onward. And we have a fabulous guest here, Charmene, Mama Vega. Well, in this case, on her, it says Vega, aka Mama Vega. This woman is special.
Right. That's
And
right.
you all are going to love this podcast because once I let her go and she puts that wisdom on us, we are definitely going to appreciate everything she says. And I just can't wait. Cannot wait. So what's up, Mr. Speller? How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Perry? How you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Where'd you find this guest, man? Where did you find her?
I'll tell you about her in a second. You know, a lot's been going well here. Really has. Um, I really can't wait. I'm gonna have to start doing a countdown soon for my second book. But you know what? It has to bake a little bit more. It has to bake in life. But
Mhm.
my second book's gonna be amazing. And our guest, Mama Vega, um, a world-renowned herbalist, nutritionist, just I would call her a wellness lady because she's all about helping people feel better. She has a wealth of knowledge, and she's been doing this for so long. And she did it initially a lot through her food, through her sauces and her salsa. So
Mm.
that's how I met her many years ago, and she's just been just this amazing woman. And I was saying to myself, got to get her on here. Um, she had me on her podcast with her partner several weeks ago, and
Mhm.
just so excited because of what they're doing, because it so coincides with everything I'm doing, which is really that wellness space to help people out. And I really think the type of communities I've been in and out of, she and myself, we can do a big something big to help people move forward. So, yeah, I'm gonna let her finish talking about herself, and then I'm gonna make another quick announcement. the The audio book should be out in a couple weeks. I'm getting the final touches on it, but it's fully completed. It's fully completed, and
Mm.
I'm really happy with how it turned out. I read the entire book myself, and Ron G, my brother, he helped me record it. He helped add music to it and really put some nice finishing touches on it. So I'm excited. So please, if you can, get the book. It's a guide, not a book. It's a guide to help people who've gone through something, and they felt like they've gone through a period of struggle to discovery. This is the one that I feel one of the best guidebooks out there. As a matter of fact, someone reached out to me from this worldwide podcast in order to get me on, because she read the book. She
Mm.
lost her husband. She lost some other people, and this book has been one heck of a guidebook for her. So anything, like I said, to help people. this is what this is all about. So, Mama Vega, I'm gonna let you finish up on introducing yourself. I said what I had to say, and maybe you should continue. How we all met and what you've been doing for the past 15 years, etc.
Well, that's a little hard to say what I've been doing for the past 15 years. It's been, 15 days. I can't hardly remember that. So, but how we met is we met because I was doing salsa. That was back when I was doing salsa, and you would go with me to the salsa festivals and hang out and help me sell salsa to get stuff going. And I did that. But also, you were there for me when I went through my hard times, emotionally, those type of things, which people don't know that story. That's another whole book and another whole story. But you were there for me, and I was also there for you as well.
Yeah, you leaned a lot on Kristen because you both were survivors of domestic violence, and
that's exactly right.
That I spent a lot of years in trying to help people out because, it's interesting, and I've kind of stepped back from that community, but just the fact that that community, in my opinion, for a period of time was very not so positive towards males. And so I had to maneuver through that, but still just the opportunity to help people, that's what this is all about.
So true. And that was also what got me into doing more with nutrition. I was doing a lot of stuff with the salsa, and people were looking at it from a nutritional standpoint, which is what I did. But I started seeing, like you said, when people are going through trauma or they're going through certain situations, when Christian and I were both looking at it, we didn't like what it was doing. It was keeping people in the cycle of almost like on a hamster wheel, for them to look at themselves as though I am this. Yeah. And she and I didn't want that, so we had to break away from that. And because that wasn't our mindset. Our mindset is, no, this is not who I am, and getting people to do that. So that's even what I do with the food, and people who I talk to, I say, you're not that. Even when you're asking me to introduce myself, that's very hard for me to do because I've done so many different things, and there's so many facets of what I do. And so I tell people I am someone who wants to help other people and get them to be the best person and the best version of themselves that they can be. And I don't like to, I have someone who I was working with earlier, and she's what people have labeled neurodivergent. And I told her, I don't see that. I listen to you, you're very intelligent, and this is where I go with it. And that's probably my special education background and just what I do with that. So I use special education, I use me being a chef and nutrition, and I combine all those things together. And a lot of times I say I get people to change their behavior, but make them believe it was their idea. And that's the way you get somebody to change their behavior, because it's not my idea. I point out things that you already know. It's not what I'm telling you something you don't know. I just get you to own it. And that's the
language. You're speaking my language as a coach. To open it to questions, and really you can discover a lot from just asking questions.
And something you said, and we had touched on this earlier when you said your book, and I had told you, I said, it's very interesting because your books and my books, we've written them the same way, where my person who I'm working with now, she's actually helping me to do marketing and thing. And she said, you don't write books. She said, you write resources that are interactive, which is different, because from a teaching standpoint and doing special ed, if you write it down, you're going to remember it. If I just keep telling you something, you're not going to remember it as much, even if you see it. You'll remember part of it. But if you write it down, it's that tactile and kinesthetic that goes with it that's going to make you remember what you've done. And the book that you did coincides with my last book. I've done 8, but this last one I dedicated to my mother. Thank you. And I dedicated to my mother because I took care of my mother for 1.5 years. But before I did this book, I did another book where I reached out to people and asked them what was going on in their lives. And I gave them a topic, and I wrote the book using their stories, and I put pictures to their stories. And I even had people from Kenya to give their stories of what it was. And what I then was able to find out is that what I was dealing with my mother, everybody else was dealing with it too, but they didn't have some of the tools that I already had. And even with all the tools I had, there were still some gaps. So what I did is I chose to write this book to help people see where those gaps are and give them something to go with, and also write in the book what they get from each little segment that I'm giving them. So it's like a tool with, when they're done, they've taken what I've given them and they've created their own book, in essence.
I love that. That's what we talked about earlier. It's like, listen, you know, I wrote my book for everybody. And so anybody can pick it up and get something from it. And so that brings me so much joy that that's kind of how you're thinking, going about doing things. And, you know, it's interesting. You told me something earlier that really stuck with me. And did you write the book about the caregivers, or you going to write one?
Oh, I wrote the book for people who give care to other people. And my reasoning for that is because what I discovered is that when someone needs care, it falls on one person. No one else wants to really step up and say, I'll help. I'll, go take a break for an hour or 2 hours. No one does that. No one thinks about the person who's giving the care or the caregiver. So that's where I was coming from. It was like, who cares about the caregiver? Not who's being cared for. Because when we look at the monies that are being given and all this kind of stuff, we're looking at the person who's receiving it. But what about the person who's doing it? And they're the ones who's losing sleep, no cortisol, not eating the meals, not knowing what to do. So I'm coming from that standpoint, even from nutrition, and saying, hey, here's some quick little things that you can do and have it for grab and go. Grab this and go. So you have something in you, but so often they're not drinking water. They're not eating a full meal. They're not sleeping all the time. But the person they're taking care of, they're making sure that they're getting everything they need. And I wanted to broaden the term of caregiver. Because when I say care, when you say the word caregiver, they think of the person has to be in a wheelchair. I have to push you around. I have to do that. But does anyone think about the police officer, the probation officer, the teacher, the mother? No one thinks about that. Everyone is a caregiver in some capacity, because you're usually giving up something. Even if you are an insurance broker, you're thinking about that client you have and how can I help them? What can I do? They may not qualify, but do they look at referring them to somebody like me, and saying, hey, let me help them, get to the point where now they can qualify for that insurance? Because if you have certain things, you may not qualify. So things of that nature is what got me to see it. And the irony in this whole thing here is today was my mother's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday.
It's funny because it's like, I took note of what you said. It was like, when Kristen was going through her illness and then died from it, as a caregiver, I was there to try to help out. And her sister came down the past, I think the last 3 weeks.
Yes. But
you do realize at some point, you could write a whole giant book on that, because there's so many things that happen to you. And I talk about in my book, from a grief perspective, where you have to really take note of what's going on or what's going to happen to you, especially in the community I've been in, because there's so many different things. And it's like, you really become one thing and then you become another, because you become the cavalry. You're the cavalry helping, but you become the cavalry because you have to be somebody that takes note of what you need to do for yourself. So no, and I know you went through something similar with your mom. So yeah,
Yes,
it's quite a
I
bit.
did.
This is
And
why I had Kevin on the show, because I was like, when they say get your affairs in order, they're just not talking about one or two things. It's everything.
Yeah.
yes, yes. And making sure, and I do cover that in my book as well. Do people look for wills and trusts and all that, and knowing what to do and how to do it? Even putting all your digital assets, your digital assets are something too, your passwords.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who knows what your passwords are? Did you put them together?
Yeah.
Did you do any of those things? And it's things that you don't think of that you have every day. And even if you don't have it and you didn't do a will or a trust, which you should do because you don't want it to go to probate, and if you don't do that, you're creating a problem for the people who come after you.
Absolutely.
Because now they have all this stress that they're dealing with. So don't you want to do things that now you can do? You know what I'm saying? It's like you want to make sure that you're doing things now that doesn't create that problem for someone else. And so often people don't look at that. They look at, well, this is what I'm doing and it's whatever. But you need to pass it on to somebody so that they're going to take care of it, because that ultimately may be how they're able to take care of you. If they can't access things or don't know information, what's going to happen?
Yeah, you could be one password away from being in big trouble.
That's exactly.
Especially when it comes to banking. For everybody who's out there listening, I'm gonna throw a trivial question out there. And don't say anything, Charmene. I'm gonna throw a question out there to everybody. I already know the answer.
And I already know what you're gonna do.
So this is all about taking care of yourself and your health and all that stuff. I'm gonna throw this question out. Your daughter, she's watching, right?
I'm not sure if she is, but there are people on here who are watching who can answer that question that you're getting ready to do. So you're going to have to tell the ones.
So I was surprised about this a couple of weeks ago because time just flies by. But can you all guess how old Charmene is?
And if you know me, you can't answer.
You will be quite surprised. And then it's just not how she looks, is the vitality and all that. And then I'm gonna let you talk about that, Charmene.
Okay.
So let's see who's going to be.
Who's going to come close?
Somebody said, "I know I'm not answering." Heather Ward.
Oh, Heather. I know Heather.
Okay.
I know Heather personally. She left me in California. She's now in Florida.
Florida. Okay. All right. See, look at that. Oh, someone put 20. That's fine. That's not right.
She's a foxy lady.
The reason why I throw that question out, because it just lets you know that there are things that people can do once they get past 45 in order to be the best version of themselves. I am at the point now, I am fanatical about my health, because health is longevity.
And that's what Marvin and I have been talking about, is also the stressors. We'll share the answer later. Who says, I know, but I'm not answering? Yeah.
Yeah, a couple people say that.
Oh, that's Ruben. Ruben knows. Some of the ones on here, they know me, so they
yeah, I'm sure.
They know. They do know. They do know. And they were surprised just like you were when they found out. And you've known me all these years, but we've never discussed my age. So you were a bit shocked as well.
Never ask a woman her age.
I thought you were like right around our age, but
nah, you gotta add a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll tell it to you. I'll tell it this way. I have my son-in-law. Both my son-in-laws are 50.
Okay.
And they're married to my daughters, and my daughters are close in age to them.
Right. So that puts in some perspective, right?
So that means that you can rule a whole bunch of stuff out. A whole bunch of numbers can be ruled out at that point.
Yep.
The black don't crack is all I can say.
Yeah, that's Andrea. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, but yeah,
um,
but the
why
thing
don't
is,
you
it's very
tell us about
important.
what you do? I mean, I love what you said about the stresses because I really think you have to eliminate the stressors or the people who cause that in your life. I put a lot about that. I talk about that a lot in my book as well. So, but please continue.
Yes, but it's not only just that, but people oftentimes will say, I'm eating healthy, but they really don't truly understand what healthy is and what it means to eat healthy. That's number one. Number two is when you are trying to eat healthy, if you're not taking care of your gut, then you're not necessarily doing everything that you should do that is going to make you healthy, because it's kind of like you would be putting bad food, or like it's kind of trying to put a plant into soil that's bad.
Right.
So the plant, which is you, let's just say you're the plant, you're not going to absorb what it is that you need to absorb. You're
Right.
just not going to do it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you are then taking care of your gut first by eating the proper food, then what you can do is when you're taking the food in, you can absorb it and your body's going to take in those nutrients. So one of the things that I tell people is like, try to eat organic. And we know there's a controversy about it. Is it really organic? Is it not? Well, if you're so concerned about it, then put some plants in a pot and grow it. That's something you can do. You can be active yourself in doing some of these things. But I will say, let's just hypothetically say that when it says organic, it's organic. We know that when it doesn't have it on there, we know for sure that's not organic. And when you're eating things that are not organic, that has all these chemicals in it, that's what you're doing. You're feeding your body chemicals, and your cells and the mitochondria, which is the center of your cell, can't eat that. So you end up eating more. So that's what's contributing to brain fog, obesity, all that kind of thing. And
what's the number one thing you would do for someone to get their gut together, besides what you're doing right now? I know what you're doing right now, but I'm saying besides that, some Joe Schmo off the street, you met him first time, you were like, you gotta get your gut together, which I fully agree. What would you tell them to do?
detox. The first thing I would say is detox. You got to get rid of the old before you can put in the new.
Okay.
That would be the first thing.
Detox.
And one of the things I tell people to do sometimes is get a glass of water. Like you said, it's Joe Schmo in the street, maybe not be able to afford something and do it. You can get baking soda and you get a glass of water. You put like a tablespoon of baking soda and 2 tablespoons of either lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, and it's going to bubble up. You know how you make the volcano? It's going to bubble up. And when it subsides, you drink it, and that's kind of like a Roto-Rooter. It's going to clean you out. So what you want to do is, that's one way of doing it, and then flush with more water. By doing that, what you're doing is you're helping to get rid of the foods you have inside of you that could have become compacted, because so many people eat meat. Meat takes approximately 72 hours to digest. And if you eat meat 3 times a day, 2 times a day, and then the next day you eat meat, I call that a food traffic jam. So you've got to get rid of that and clean out the gut and everything there, because that's also your immune system. So when you're getting sick, the reason you're getting sick, brain fart and all that, all those toxins are feeding your brain. It's going through your bloodstream. So the fastest thing you could do would be doing something like that. Not necessarily good for everybody, and I understand it. So I'm making generalities here, because I will do disclaimers, that I always have to do, is to say, I'm not trying to mitigate any disease or cure anything or say any of those things, because I don't know anyone's medical record or what's going on there. So no, I don't. But I can give you generalities of what you can do. That would be one of the things to do. And also to drink lemon water, because lemon water helps to make your body a little bit more alkaline. You don't have to do alkaline water. You can make your water alkaline, because we're talking about, if people can't afford all the fancy gadgets, there are some basic things that you can do, that you can have in your kitchen, that now can do it. Your kitchen is your pharmacy. That's the truth.
What about so is it lemons or limes that's more alkaline?
I prefer the limes. The limes actually have more. The limes are more tart,
Yep.
and the lemons are a little bit more sweeter. So they're going to have more of the alkaline for them. With the limes.
Got it. Okay. Somebody asked a couple questions. They said, "What if you're sensitive to baking soda, and my girlfriend has a strict eating routine? I eat everything."
Okay. They do make a baking soda that is, I forgot the base of it, but the regular baking soda you get, but you can look online on Amazon and you can see that they have various baking sodas that don't have all the same ingredients in them. And I can't remember all of them off the top of my head because I do know someone else who can't do the regular baking soda, but they do have another one that she can do.
Okay.
And if you don't want to do baking soda, then I would say what you need to do is just, try to do like an intermittent fasting or just do a fasting so that what you can do is flush your system, but drinking more water. That would be just water with lemon. So you can try to flush your system out. And also something else that people don't do that would also help would be to do an exercise right after you finished eating. Don't eat and go sit on the couch.
Right.
Just walk for 10 minutes. Just raise your arms. Do something to get that blood flowing so that it helps the body to digest the food. Just something simple.
So you said you can't eat and go get locked in the couch, right?
Yes. Don't be that couch potato. You can also.
I like how you two are just talking about me on the air, and there's like probably 50 million people. It's just crazy.
Yeah. So okay. So I threw the thing out there. Somebody said 25. I know they were playing around, but
that was here, so she's playing. I saw it.
I know, sure. Why don't you talk about this miracle thing that you've done that has and I'm going to go ahead and say it. This blew me away. See, this is how much I lost track of time. Charmene is 71. I'm saying to myself, that's nowhere in hell. I'm like, damn.
That was a good year.
Somewhere along the lines, she either gained or lost 20 pounds. 20 years, right?
20 years. 20 I wish. I still have a little weight to lose. That's true. Okay. That's
she got 20 years back, and then I know she's with this organization that's really helping people, really making all the difference. And just wanted to give you a few minutes of that, but I'm still stuck at 71. So
yeah, absolutely. That's LifeVantage. You're talking about LifeVantage that I do everything with. And as a matter of fact, I have my cup, and I always like to make my girl Tirsa, who I know who's on here. She's jealous because she lost the top to hers, and so she doesn't have hers. So I always like to show her, I've got mine. Mine. Wow. But yes, and what it is there is a YouTube video that's with John Kionis where they did investigative reporting, and they tried to disprove this company. And it's LifeVantage, and they have a little yellow pill, which is called an activator, and it activates your cells. What it does is anything that's in your body that's too high, it lowers it. Anything that's too low, it raises it. And that's one of the products. But they're in roughly 20 countries. They've got 40 years of actually research and putting this out there. They originally had it out in stores like CVS, places like that, but nobody understood what's activating the cells. What is that? What is nutrigenomics? All these words he was using, they had no clue what it was or what it meant. So now the company went back and said, what we need to do is we need to explain to people what it is, and then have them to go out and explain it, and then they can get this. And that's what I take every day. I take that, and the liquid collagen is what I do. So it's so for me, that's what it's done.
Okay. You ever heard of Dave Asprey?
Yes.
He spent millions into, some people call it biohacks or life hacks. And he was the one that came up with what's that coffee he had? He had a coffee. And so he took the coffee and he added butter, and he added MCT oil.
Yes, which is coconut, which is the coconut.
MCT
oil
oil,
comes from coconut. Yes, the cream of coconut.
Right.
And it's almost like a bullet. What they call that, like the bullet.
Bulletproof. It's bulletproof. Yeah. So the reason why I say that, because there are many people worldwide who believe in this stuff, and it's beyond belief. There are so many things that people have done to really hack their lives, and it's pretty amazing stuff. And this stuff is legit. There are people who feel as though they want to live to 150, 200 years. There's something in our DNAs and RNAs that caps us at 120 years. And as you said, the telomeres, right?
The telomeres, which is in the cell, yes.
As we get older. But there are a lot of people worldwide who are into biohacking. Biohacking is a real thing, and it's not a bunch of people just sitting around this hocus pocus stuff. Biohacking is real, and thank you for sharing, Charmene.
No, and like you said, it's LifeVantage. That's what I do. I've been with them for over 9 years. People who I'm with, Tirsa, who's on here, she actually put my little thing up there. So that's if you want to get it. Thank you, Tirsa.
Yes, thank you.
Because that's where you can actually get it. You can go there and you can get the product and you can get what I'm doing. And yes, I will share that. Obviously, if I have a daughter close to 50, I didn't have her at 10.
Right, exactly. I can't wait to start selling these products. I'm extremely excited about, because
yes, and you should be getting yours tomorrow.
I should be getting mine by tomorrow. There are a lot of people. We talked about it. We talked about this, and we've talked about it plenty of time on this podcast, about people who are in my group. I would say my group of grieving group, the widows and widowers, and they call it a widowhood effect, right?
Yes.
These people, one spouse dies and the other dies months later because your body starts to attack itself from its grief. And you really have to make a decision to live or not. How do I know this? Because I had to make that same damn decision. Like,
yes.
Are you going to make it? And a lot of that, I give credit to my mom. She was like, hey, listen, I got to tell you, I know what you're going through. I think I was really snappy that day. She was like, listen, I need you and the world needs you. So that was the thing that helped me to start to get out of my funk. But that stuff is real. I really had to put myself out there to believe it can be done. And now I continue to do things to make sure it's done. I lost 24 pounds since November. And a lot of that was cleaning up my gut, but there's more I need to do. And
it's just to say, it's not just cleaning it up, but it's also your mental state. Your mental state has a lot to do with whether you're going to lose weight, gain weight, or whatever. It's a mental thing, making a choice.
My mental state was not in a good place.
Yes.
There's no way the first year and a half I could have done the podcast with Charlie, because and in some ways I was a basket case. And I had to get past my own self, and I had to approach this from many different directions. My mind, and I really put a lot of work into my body, and just keep it going. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm glad you came across that product, Charmene, because you're gonna be on your way to 100 plus.
Well, I'm working on it, but I would like to share, if I can, the cover of the book for the caregivers, if I can do that.
Please.
Let me grab it.
And by the way, Tirsa, you are not getting paid for that production that you did, putting the link on the screen.
Oh,
unless Marvin wants.
Tirsa's my girl. She's got my back.
Well, if you want to check, the check's going to be in the mail. You know that old saying, right?
But this is the book that I did, and the title is "Who Cares?" ? Right? And then the subtitle is "The Untold Truth About Caregiving and Self-Sacrifice," because that's what it is, and nobody knows that. And I did this, and people said, "What does that cover mean?" And the answer is, what does it mean to you?
Right.
Because
Right.
if I tell you what it means, it's not going to be the same thing. And you'd be surprised how many different answers I got, but it all had to do with how they felt emotionally about feeling like they were alone,
Right.
that no one understood, and that's why I'm playing on the words there. Who cares? Who really cares about the caregiver?
That's a good point. I have to tell you, I was very fortunate. I had a lot of people who cared how I was doing, and I'm very grateful for it. But by and large, I would say from just an overall aggregate, you understand pretty quickly you're your own cavalry.
Mhm.
You have to get that through your thick skull.
And like you said, you have to get it through your thick skull, but you also have to look at it that I'm going to get through the other side. You have to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You have to constantly be talking to yourself and telling yourself, I can get through this, I can do this, because there isn't anyone who's there. And that was the common thing that I saw. You were very fortunate, but the commonality that I found is like there can be 5 children in the family, one person is the one who's doing it. I've come across very wealthy families where there are 8 kids in the family, some of them are millionaires and stuff, and there's one person doing it, and the rest of them won't even give that one person $100 a month, and yet they have it.
I know.
Exactly.
So, I would tell you, ultimately, my default mechanism is always my attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to, my attitude was like, you know what? You're going to get through this. I wrote a letter to myself like 7 years ago. And I wrote it to myself and I mailed it to myself from a conference. And it was simply, you're already magnificent. All things are going to work out for you. And so I didn't necessarily believe it, but I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is how you're going to live. You're going to repeat this day by day. And that became my ongoing affirmation.
Mm.
And that's your mindset too, Marvin, because like we talked earlier, you made a decision that you want your health today to be better than it was yesterday when we were talking. And that was one of the things you said. But you made a choice. And I tell people that everything you do is a choice.
Yeah.
You chose to get out of bed or not to get out of bed. You chose to brush your teeth or not brush your teeth. You chose to, all these things are a choice. And it's not, well, I'm going to do. It's not you're going to do anything. It's either you did it or you didn't do it.
Right.
We try to say, well, I'm a try. What does try really mean?
There's no try. There's no try.
There is no try. Either you did it or you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Trying is not a good proposition.
No. So, and that's what I tell a lot of my clients, well, I'm going to try to do this. No, you're not. You're not. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So that's what we have to do, is we have to make sure that we are saying the right words, because those words that we say are what our mind is now telling us we're going to do or not going to do.
Right. Well, it starts with saying, and to your point from earlier, writing, because that adds a whole nother level of, I would say, accountability to yourself.
Yes.
You write something down, and then to reinforce it is to say it. Like if you've said it enough times that you can't, you could say something different all the time. And you could say something just so simple. I got this. I'm going to do that. You could talk yourself in and out of things all day long.
And that's what we do. We do that. And we will say, oh, well, I don't feel like doing it. Well, talk yourself into feeling like doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, I get up in the morning and for a while, I didn't have anybody who wanted to walk with me in the morning. And I'm out there walking at, 6:30, 6:45, and then people would see me walking, and if they didn't see me for a few days, they were like, I didn't see you, but that doesn't mean they're getting out there. Now, when a couple of them got sick and they were like, oh, are you still walking? I want somebody to walk with. Oh, now you're looking for me. You know, and it's fine that they're doing it now, but also, you know, getting them to understand you've got to keep doing it. And what I do like is some of them now is that if I can't be out there because I have an appointment or something, and I say, oh, did you walk today? Yes, I walked today. And then I went to the gym and I exercised. So now it's become a habit. So now it's a habit for them that they do get out there and they do it. And that's all you have to do is do it a number of times for it to become a habit where you feel guilty if you don't do it. That's the important thing, is to create it, because just like you created a pattern of not doing something, you can create a pattern of doing something.
Yeah, I want to go back to what you were saying about you and your partner, Tirsa.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great to be on that Zoom call with them, with the both of them, because just amazing. You felt so welcome, and she's pretty amazing.
She is.
I love her story, and I love her story and that community that you all have. So it's
I love her already because she grabbed that link so quick, man. I was looking for it, and she's like, boom, and then she put a second one up. I'm like,
yeah. So that's my girl. She has my back and everything. And Marvin already has experienced that. There are a couple of times I couldn't do something, and he's calling me. I was like, wait a minute, let me get a hold of Tirsa. Tirsa, can you handle this for me? Yeah. And she's like right on it.
Yeah, right on it. Matter of fact, she called me right away, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So just two incredible women. I love the fact that you all are out here trying to make a difference in the world. And those are the type of people that I gravitate towards, because we all have in some ways, a singular mission, just to make a difference in the world. You're like, that used to be the question I would ask people when I would interview them. How have you made a difference in the world we live in? And I talk about this in my book. It's like, you're only doing it in some reasons because we are all connected. And science has proven that. So when you do that for someone else, you're really doing it for yourself. And it's kind of one of these things. We get the gift of living in this amazing world. So you may have to pay it somehow, right? Just pay it forward. That's how you do it.
And how often do you walk into a store and you even think about it? And this is a challenge I would like to give people, is just to say, how are you today?
Oh, yeah. Charlie and I talked about that.
Yeah, just ask somebody, and when you see somebody, just say, hi, how are you? Because so often, or holding the door, some of these little niceties, some people, they just walk through. It's almost like they're trying to slither through the door, and before the door closes, so they don't have to hold it, but things like that, just doing some of these common courtesies can put a smile on someone's face. Even if you're just standing in line, just say, hi, how are you? Rather than just standing there quietly, or you see something that they have on the conveyor belt for the food or something and say, oh, what are you going to do with that? That looks really interesting. Just having a conversation can brighten someone's day. And
yeah, that's what it's about. I've said this many times. Charlie and I talked about it.
I watch body language all the time.
What you do is get out here and see how many people you can impact a week. That could be a simple goal for everybody. And it could be the little things, holding the door from somebody, thanking someone. Sometimes you may be in Starbucks, buy somebody a coffee if you can afford it. Just do something. And what you're doing, you're changing your vibration, and you're definitely changing theirs as well. And this
or how about, something else that I've done is I will carry little cards in my purse, and then I will and it just says, hope you have a nice day, and just hand it to them. You don't have to say anything.
I love that.
You can just hand them these, and you can get little miniature cards, and that's all you have to do is just hand that to them.
I love that.
Nothing needs to be said, but when the person opens it up, you'd be surprised at the difference that you just made in, as Marvin put it, their vibration, just by doing that.
Yeah.
that little thing. And, you can get a box of those little ones. And if you don't want to get a box of them, just take some paper, fold it in half, and then just make little ones, just, but do something and give them something that just lets them know that they are somebody, because that is something that will shorten people's life quickly, not only stress, but feeling that they do not have a purpose in life.
Yeah.
And you could have just given them a purpose in life or purpose for living just by saying, have a nice day. I wish you well.
Yeah.
I started doing this rather than just telling people, when I hang up the phone to say goodbye, I say goodbye for now.
I like that.
Just that adding that little bit, goodbye for now, not goodbye, but goodbye for now. That makes a difference.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I mean, honestly, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah. And so it's words, with a little nursery rhyme that we had that said, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's not true. Words can kill.
That was a lie. Somebody lied about that.
Words can kill.
Words can kill somebody.
The words that you say can kill someone. Yeah. And they need to understand that. Words can kill. Because when you say that, and even under the domestic violence cycle, the things that are worse is when somebody says something, they take your money, they do those kind of things, not the physical, but it's the mental.
Right.
That's the part that's killing the person, is the mental aspect of it. And so when you say that, because what is that saying? You can't unknow what you know.
It's interesting. Charlie and I have talked about this before. It's like, you look at society and people randomly say, do some kindness things and all that. But I look at the intentions that people have towards one another are just as bad. And imagine, and Charlie, we talked about this on one of our podcasts recently about the updated version of the golden rule. Mm-hmm. Like, say good things about people. But here's another thing. Say it about them when they're not around.
Yeah.
Like, don't say bad things about people when they're not around. Say good things about them, because you would hope they would say good things about you. When we think about when you have the thought about somebody and when you're going to be seeing them soon, have a positive thought going through your head about them. All these things make all the difference. I want to share one more thing. I'm a part of the San Diego Widows and Widowers group, and they said, someone made a post today, share a valuable lesson that can help others. And somebody put, other people's opinions of you is none of your business. Somebody put, a closed mouth does not get fed. I wrote, no matter what, you have to move forward, and health is wealth.
So yes. Tell me, was that your idea to do that? Or was
post?
It someone
else?
Okay. All right. Yeah. It sounds like you. All right. It just sounds what you would do. So that's why I'm asking.
I mean, I would have, but I haven't been posting a lot on Facebook. I kind of see what people say, and I get activated by that. But I think about the difference we can make. Think about this: the difference we can make on others. And I actually love being in that place. You put a smile on someone's face, that's worth its weight in everything you do, man. You see somebody and you say something, a thank you to them, all these things make all the difference. And it's not something that's like where because you read it somewhere, you do it because it feels good. And it's going to feel good to them as well.
Yeah. And even thinking about just sending somebody a card in the mail. I don't mean sending them a text. I don't mean, just, calling them, but getting a card and sending them a card in the mail and just saying, how are you today?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be elaborate or anything, but doing that and thanking somebody. And, if you want to thank somebody find out what their address is, find out what you can do, and send it to them and say, thank you. You made my day,
Yeah.
And mailing it to them. To me, that's important because we've lost that touch. We've lost that human touch.
We have.
Showing somebody something, and even when, you see different messages and stuff, how many people actually will do engagement and write something rather than giving you a thumbs up or a heart? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
You mean like on text or something?
Sometimes it's a text, or sometimes it's you may post something on social media, and then somebody will give you a thumbs up or a heart. But what does that mean?
I don't know. I think people have found the easy way to do things, and that's the way to go. I don't know. I don't think it's
a lot of times those icons are because people are in transit or they're doing something or preoccupied. But I truly understand what you're saying because I like that communication. And even if it's through text, if as long as it's verbal, I like that. However, I do like that phone call, that voice behind, because I like that human connection. It's very, very important. Sometimes you can misconstrue what's going on in the text, you take it the wrong way when it's not meant that it's just a misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to get people to just talk, communicate.
Just talk.
Other than texting and doing that, because you can there could be a miscommunication. And we talked about words being powerful. Well, if you have a misunderstanding, that can be powerful too,
Yeah.
in the wrong direction.
That's true.
Very, very true. One of the things I've had that I've done with some of my clients is I would send them a text message, but in me sending them a text message, I go to my camera as though you're going to take a picture, and I turn it around, and then I do a video recording so that when they get it, I'm talking to them and they see my face.
I like that.
And that way it's more engaging that way, because now they see me, they see my expressions, they see what I'm saying. And it's usually the ones that I'm saying, where are you today? You're supposed to be eating your food or doing whatever. How come I didn't hear from you?
Exactly.
And they can tell from my expression what it is that I'm saying, and they can see my face. So that's what I send to them and I do each one separately, and I say their name in it so that now it's personalized. And it's personalized to that person, and they can see what it is that I'm saying to them.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like that a lot. It's just the little things we can do to make all the difference. I like someone put there, you are enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure are.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You sure are.
Yep.
Chef Mom is kicking butt today on these comments. She's definitely doing a great job, and I appreciate all the comments. But
yeah, who's Chef Mom virtually?
That's her name is Andrea.
Andrea.
You need to come
she's
on.
A chef.
You need to come on our show weekly.
Yeah.
You've got an invite all the time. I love that attitude.
Definitely.
Yeah, imagine if you felt that way towards everybody you met. That not only are you enough, but they are enough as well. That's because I tell you, a lot of people don't feel that. A lot of people don't feel like they're enough. And I got to tell you, for a long time after Kristen's passing, I didn't feel that, because it was dictated on what I got from others, which was the wrong approach. So I would always say to anybody, let me say this to the whole world. You are more than enough. Mm-hmm. Never forget that, because I've been in that dark place where I didn't feel like I was enough. And it took people around me to tell me that, even before I believed it, which I think was the wrong approach. So I just share because of what I went through.
And you went through a lot, Marvin, but even with what you went through, you're using that as the power for you to be able to help others. You're
That's right.
using that and that knowledge, and that's what became your power. It wasn't your weakness, but it was your strength. So
Yeah.
all of that became your strength. And
All
I
of
do,
it.
I appreciate
Thank you.
what you're doing and how you're doing that. And you didn't let what you were going through and what you're still going through be an excuse for
No.
not being able to reach out, you know, and even when you're going through things and you're dealing with things, sometimes reaching out to someone else and helping that other person, it helps you understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because now you can see, let me help them. And then in helping that other person, you end up helping yourself.
Yeah. Because we are all connected, and
We are all connected.
it took a lot of feeling that and knowing that, going through the worst thing that ever happened in my life brought out a whole nother side of me, which I didn't think I had in me. You know, to your point, Charmene, it was like you start to you realize you get unpacked because you get to realize what you were meant to do. That's why my book says what it says.
Yes.
You know, unpacking
grief.
And remember, it's a resource. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's a resource.
we talked about that. It's a
Yeah,
resource. It's an
resource.
interactive resource.
Which tells the story, unpacking, shattered
Yes.
to onward. The onward is one hell of a story.
Yes.
It's an amazing cover. I like the
Yes.
essence behind it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Rise of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming out the ashes.
Yep. Yep.
Let's see.
Has a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
Tiza says, "What a great session! So happy and thankful to be here.
We're
I'm
glad to have
happy.
you.
Yeah, this is a great crew, an awesome
Yes.
podcast.
And we had a lot of good, you know, people who showed up for
That's right.
interaction as well.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
were
and I'm
marvelous.
very appreciative of all those who came up. These are the ones who, you know, if you want some people who are your ride or dies, those who showed up, those are my folks, where no matter what, if I send them something, they're there.
Yeah,
So
well, keep sending them. We always
I
want
know.
people.
Now
who
they
are-
know where you are. They know where you are. They know how to find you on Wednesdays too. So
Every Wednesday, 6 p.m.
yes,
Yeah.
every Wednesday.
Me and my brother Charlie.
That's right.
Yep.
And Charmaine, I just want to tell you that for your friends and to come out, your team to come out for you, is exactly what you showed them, right? You showed them the same thing. They're calling you, and you're stepping up to the plate. You're there for them, and I just want to let you know that you're appreciated. And the comment was, "You're enough." You're amazing. All right,
Thank
I'm gonna put it out that you're amazing. Just in the short week that I've been trying to do some research on you, and I truly never underestimate what Marvin Speller tells me. But he said the same thing over and over and over again. Tasty T says she is. So this is I love these names. Where'd Marvin go? He took all right.
Did you lose Marvin?
Yeah. He did one of those exits, man. Didn't say bye to anybody, just went out the back door. And we'll see what's up with him.
We'll see where
He'll
he
come
was.
back on. Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
But,
you are amazing too, Charlie. You know,
thank you.
know, and you know, and you obviously have known Kristen a lot longer, but Kristen and Martin a lot longer than I did because she was your cousin.
Mhm.
We did so many things together, and I missed her so much, and still do.
Yeah, she was the thing is Marvin and I and Kristen kind of met around the same time thanks to social media.
Mhm.
And we found out we were related.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about it is that I reached out and I found a beautiful cousin, but I also found an amazing man in her life, named Marvin Speller, and
Yes.
and
brother.
it's just I can't thank him enough for being part of my life. I'm fortunate, and I continue to appreciate him every single day because we, even if we're not talking, we're still, there's a message, there's this, there's that, so I truly appreciate him, and I'm glad he allowed me to have a good new friend now. I'm gonna consider you my new friend,
That's
and
right.
I also,
Absolutely.
yeah, I absolutely want to continue for us to all stay in contact, and
Yeah, we
feel
need to.
free use this podcast forever with whatever you need. You may want to uh, have a group of your friends on there at the same time, and discussing whatever it may be. It, Everything's a teaching moment, and so feel
And I
free
will
to.
definitely take you up on that because
Yeah.
Marvin knows that's my background is a lot of people say I don't know how not to teach. That's what I do. It's when I talk, I teach.
Well,
And go
well,
ahead, Marvin.
be ready because we're going to be doing a lot of this.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
lot of this stuff. Once I get it in me, we're going to be
Oh, yes.
we're going to be
Yeah,
pushing.
he can't wait. Marvin is like a kid in a candy store. He's bugging me every day. Like it's like Christmas. Is
When's it
it in
coming?
yet?
When's
Is
it
it
coming?
in yet? He's calling me every day. I need the tracking. I need the tracking. He's texting me today. I'm like, I don't know. Let me call Tirsa. Let me tell Tirsa to go look it up.
That's the assertive part of me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, okay,
Let's
is
do
it
it.
in
Let's
yet?
go. Let's
So
do
she's
it.
looking it up and she's sending him the link. She's sending me the link. And so she's like, okay, you should get it today. If not today, tomorrow. So it's like, and I will tell you, it did say it was at the warehouse in Woodland Hills. So
It did. It did.
yes,
So it's probably tomorrow.
yes. So you'll
I
have it
can't wait.
tomorrow. So yeah,
But you know what? I can't wait till we are out talking to people about this because
I can't wait either
my goodness. You
because
know,
it is, it's what I do. This is what I do. Um, Tirsa will tell you she hounded me for several years
mhm.
to become a consultant. I
Mm.
was still taking it. I was taking the product, but she would always throw her little shade here and there. And and then I started doing it, and it's like it's easier than people would think, but it's more importantly is that I live this. This is what I do. I do this all day, every day, and I do tell people it doesn't necessarily have to be this for everyone. But even at my age, I don't take anything. I'm not even taking an aspirin. Thank God for my good health, but it is what it is. I don't, what I take are the products that Marvin is getting ready to get. That's what I take. And it does help at a cellular level. It does help your telomeres. It does all those things. The science is there. So it is science backed. It's not where I'm just saying this. The product has patents. It's been proven. It has third party validation. So it's not.
It's definitely science, but I'll back it, and I haven't even gotten it yet.
Mm.
It's just like people can say what they want, but when you put science back behind things, how do you refute that? Just like science is backed a lot that people would say is hocus pocus, right?
Mhm.
Like like when I tell people, I say, hey, you know what? The mind operates outside of the head.
Yes.
And people are like, well, how do you know? It's like, this is science backed.
Mhm.
And so that's a big statement there. So a lot of the feelings or things we have is outside of our body. So we get to influence what we do and how we do it.
Yes. And how we influence others, all of these things. And that goes with the words. When you say those words have vibrations to them, and it's having an impact on somebody else. But people
That
don't look at that.
just like you tell somebody you love them, that word is it's like the highest vibration out there.
Yes.
It really, and people don't understand. It's like a lot of things can come from just the feeling and output of love. This is what I was trying to say earlier about we are all connected. So you get that output of love vibrationally, it makes all the difference. Just like You could take a glass of water and you could change the crystals in it by your vibration towards it.
Yes.
That's been backed by science now.
It has been, and there's actually a YouTube video that shows that, where they actually take a glass of water and they put the word love on it, and then they put the water under a microscope, and you can see it almost looks like flowers and blooming and that type of thing. They take the same water, write the word hate, and you put that on there, and you'll see that it's almost like it turns black and they start shriveling and all that kind of thing. Well, if our bodies are water, this is the nutritional aspect. If our bodies are water and you're telling a person, I love you or I hate you, what are you doing to that person's body? What are you doing if you're saying it to yourself? So you should be saying, I love myself. I love who I am all the time. You should be doing that.
All the time.
That's exactly right. And when you say you hate something, that's what you're doing. You're hating that person, or I hate this, or I dislike this. You're doing damage. You're doing damage to yourself, and you're doing damage to someone else. And that's been scientifically backed. Those words, what they mean, and the vibration behind them.
Yep. So true. That's what we've been saying for a while now. So spread the love, people.
Yes.
So
amazing podcast. Two amazing people. You guys had me listening and learning. I'm so happy that you're here. It just, what I like is that even though I'm learning right now, later on when this is kind of out there and people are viewing this podcast on all the different social medias, they have an opportunity to listen and learn also. And that's why I like this podcast and what it does. Yep, we have some amazing advice from amazing people that come on here. And even if the guest isn't on here, Marvin and I are trying to teach someone that, first and foremost is that they're not alone. Maybe going through something. Let's talk about it. We're here. I truly appreciate this podcast, and I can't wait until.
Yeah, bring the whole world on. We're going to love you up because we love you.
Yes. Yeah. And thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for having me, because it gives me a bigger platform. I talk to people all the time, but you guys are helping me to be able to spread the word to that many more people. As you can see, I do have people who come on here and they do tell other people, but my whole thing is I want more people to know. I want more people to be healthy, more people to know that you can do this, more people to stop being stressed about things. There's some things that, and I tell people, there's really never a problem. What it is, it's a situation, because when you say problem, that's already negative.
Yeah.
But if I say it's a situation, that's neutral. Yeah. Now, how you handle it and your perception of it is what makes it either positive or negative.
Yeah.
So if you look at every situation as a situation and what's my next step to resolution to solve this, you will see that you have less stress, because now you're going to figure out, let me do a task analysis. Let me say, if I do this, this is what's going to, and just methodically figure out what's my next step, rather than and that helps you take away the being paralyzed and being able to do something.
It's true.
Yeah, Tisa said, I would love to support you
in your wellness
journey. Yeah, amazing.
And that's what we do. We're out there to try to help more people, and that's what this is all about. Is getting people well, having people to stay well, and that's why Marvin is so anxious to get what it is that Tirsa and I are doing. And thank you, Marvin, because I didn't expect you to do that.
I'm gonna hound you down tomorrow if I don't have it tomorrow. You too, Charmene. You know what's funny? I was thinking about what you just said. I think about that song "Fantasy" by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
You'll be in search of those who've been in search of you. So it's always been my favorite song. You'll find those in search of you. So
yes, you will. But you guys are doing a wonderful job, though. But both of you, and you too, Charlie. Thank you. Whenever you're trying to do something like this, it it takes two people to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you've got to have somebody who's talking and somebody who's, you know, the magic behind the curtain.
He's
Yeah.
the best. He's been the best partner since we started this a year and a half ago. The best
Back at you.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without him.
But
I'll
you
definitely
are.
these clips. I'm gonna create some clips very shortly after the podcast.
Okay.
I'll share them and feel free to use them.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll be
Yeah.
I'll be sharing them with my girl, and she'll be posting them everywhere. You know, that's what she sent me a message. She's helping me do my social media and stuff. And she was like, "Are you going to get the recording? You're going to get anything?" You know, she's already hitting me up several times. Well, you're going to get this, or you're going to get this, or you're going to. I was like, "Yes, we'll get it. We'll get it." So she's good about doing that. That's her thing that she does. And so she's real good. So we'll be promoting and sharing and making sure people know that you guys are here. Be looking for more guests for you so that you guys have that.
Yeah. Anytime you want people to come on, they can come on.
Yeah. So, you know, definitely do that, because it's very important to get it out there and keep it going, because what you guys have here is awesome.
Thank you.
And anyone here, anyone in the comment section, if you're a creator, TikTok creator, a part of a creative network where you can create live TikToks and get yourself paid on it, you know, based on what you're doing. So if you're on TikTok and you're delivering messages all the time, you know, reach out to me and I'll definitely send you a document, and it doesn't cost you anything. All we're trying to do is create some money, another way of creating some money. So many people on TikTok not doing, or they're creating lives and have good responses, great followers, but they're not getting paid for it. And so
this is the thing I said to you the other day, Charlie. We all should be getting paid well for what we do.
True. It's information. How many professionals do you know are doing the same thing we're doing, and they're riding around in the things that we want to see, you know, ourselves riding in.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I plug this laptop in. I know it's the end of the podcast, but
it is. And
I definitely don't want to lose anything.
Yeah.
Charmene, you are a beautiful person.
Thank you.
You're not only, you may be 71, but I want to let you know first and foremost, you are simply beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful inside and out, and you keep up the good work. I will continue to follow you and and follow you and listen and learn, like I just said.
That's why when she invited me to that Zoom call, I was like, okay. I mean, I get invites all the time, but I don't go to everybody. So know why I was there, Charmene.
I know, because you know me.
And I do.
So
wait, I have to ask this, and I meant to ask it in the beginning, but where do you get Mama Vega from, and who gave you that name?
Oh, yes. Mama Vega comes from my students. When I taught in La Cañada, I would never send them to the principal. I told him, I'm not sending you to the principal. If I send you to the principal, you're just going to go film, you know, file papers and that kind of thing. No, you're going to deal with me and your mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was how I got the word Mama Vega, is they knew that they were going to have to deal with me, and they looked at me like their other mom, and their moms and dad gave me permission. So even though I was the teacher, they looked at me as that other mom. If they had problems or whatever, they would come to me and I would help them with that. So that's where they are. And by the way, even on my Facebook page, I still have a lot of my former students and their parents actually still follow me. And that they graduated from high school in 1999.
Wow.
Nice. That's a compliment.
That's where Mama Vega comes from.
That's a compliment. And I'm truly, I like that story. Truly do. All right, everyone. I definitely love this. Can't wait to go downstairs and kind of upload a lot of this information, create the clips for us all. Um,
Thank you.
Thank you, people on folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, on both channels. I truly appreciate you. We're gonna add it to Spotify and Substack. I truly trying to reach out to all the people we can, especially when Charmene has something to deliver, and
Thank
that's
you.
her. That's a wellness journey. She's on it. Marvin's on it. We're
Yep.
all trying to get on it, like me. And there's many more other people that we have to reach. So let's
That's
try
right.
to support everyone that we can.
Yeah.
Tasty tea, because Cuisine says, have a blessed night.
Thanks,
Yes.
brother.
Awesome.
That's my niece.
That's your niece, huh? Tasty tea. I love that name.
She's
Monique
a chef too.
Johnson. Yeah. Monique Johnson says, thank you all. All right.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mama.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for
And thank
joining,
you.
everyone.
That's a
Thank you. And I
great
know
audience,
Ida is
man.
on here too. I want to thank her for coming. That's another one who I did see her name come across. Heather.
Yes.
There are a number of them who are on here that I could see, the ones that popped up when I was looking at the ones that I saw. So all of the ones who are on here, I do want to thank them very much for coming on, because I just sent them personal text. This is where I went against what I normally would do, but I just sent them a personal text to the link, and I just, sent them the link and they could see what it was, and they popped on. So those are the ones who are very supportive. Marilyn is my cousin. So
Nice.
so they're, and just so you know, they're not all in California. So they had to come on here at this late hour. Like Maryland's on the East Coast. There are East Coast people on here, Maryland, and so not everybody is on.
I love the East Coast.
Yes,
Not
it,
everybody's
man.
on our time. They're on the East Coast time, so they still hopped on here,
Well,
even them
We
being
appreciate it.
that far. So I do appreciate that, because it's 10 o'clock at night for them.
Yeah.
well, I'm on the East Coast too, and y'all
Yeah.
out there, I truly appreciate you. We are all waiting for the springtime to get a little bit warmer, and it looks like it's going to be coming for us,
That's
and
good.
we appreciate it. And for
Yes.
all you people that are in California teasing us with all that warm weather, we understand. We understand.
Well, you beat me to it, because I normally do that.
That's true, my
Well,
brother.
I lived there for 3 years, so I know. I
Yeah.
Yes.
know. Never
Yes.
rains in Southern California.
Yes.
It's
Listen,
going to rain next Monday and Tuesday.
Yes,
that's
it
all
sure
right.
is.
Goes
Yeah.
by real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
You
see.
totally forget about it. It rains and then it's gone. And
Yeah, we need it,
so,
though.
yeah, definitely.
But both of you are wonderful. Thank you very much for having me,
Thank you,
um,
Sean.
and making it easy, because what people don't know is this definitely was not scripted. There was nothing on here.
No, we
There was
talk.
nothing that, this was all just, all I knew is you said, hey, want you on? Okay, what you want me to do? Whatever.
We talk. That's what we do. That's what we do every week. We just get on and talk. Whatever
Right.
topic comes up,
Remember what you said in the beginning. Organic. We did
Organic.
it organically.
Yes.
We just didn't put it on the screen, but it was organic.
It is, and that's what it is. And and that makes, that's why even when people ask me to do presentations or they ask me to speak, and I just say, well, what's the topic, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I've had people say, well, do you have an outline? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I was like, no, either I know it or I don't. And if I don't, I'm gonna tell you I don't know it, or I have somebody I can call. But as far as me trying to do something where you're going to put me in a box, that's like trying to take a square peg and putting it into a round hole. It ain't going to work.
Yeah, sure.
So true. All right, y'all.
Okay.
I just want to say good night. I love you.
Love you,
I
brother.
love you. I love you from the deepest
And-
part of my heart.
And love both of you, even though you're new into my family of Fold, but Marvin knows that when I say it, I mean it, and I do love you. And I
Yeah.
always look at
Thank
those
you.
positive words. I'm very careful about that, and I try to not look at the negativity. And like I said, it was very divinely this divinely happened, because like I said, today was my mother's birthday. And I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it until earlier when I was looking at something. I was like, oh, we were talking about caregiving and all that. And the book is dedicated to my mother. So thank you for having me on this particular day.
Anytime.
Well, Charmene, you see all the books. Well, let me go this way. Those are almost 98% people from my podcast.
Wow.
So you're gonna be added to the collection. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's 4 tiers. So it's 98% of them are from people from my podcast. So
Thank you.
yeah. All right, Mr. Speller, you be a good young man and you make sure that you definitely bother Tears immediately. Like let's give her until about 11:30 tomorrow morning. And if you don't get your stuff, you make sure you send her a very long text,
I
and
will for sure.
just let her know.
I'm gonna be
Let
out
her know.
most of the day, but I expect it by the time I get home.
Yeah, I know she's good and she's quick on the draw. We're putting links in the comment section. You
Yes.
truly helped me, and I want to give you an electronic high five. Tears up. You were definitely, Chef Mom. You were amazing. You
Yes.
definitely you get 2 stickers for today. And I
Yeah,
truly.
all these people who join in, you all are amazing.
Yeah,
we love you to death.
exactly.
We love you.
Tasty tea. You be good to your kin folks. You make sure that you take care of Charmene and you make sure you follow her lead because she is amazing and beautiful and everything else. So,
Cool. Okay.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna end with a beautiful outro. And
Thank
as
you.
a teacher, don't mind the typos. We did fix that typo. We just didn't turn it into the teacher and put it on the screen. I totally messed up. I thought I sent it to Marvin. It's corrected. He's my proof. It's right in his text message. So
No
but I
worries,
didn't.
man. It's all good.
So all right. Love y'all. Take care. And I definitely will keep in touch with you. Charmene.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Same to you.
Welcome to Sometimes You Have to Lose Yourself, a podcast where we explore the complexities of love, loss, and self-discovery. Join Charlie Perry and Marvin Speller when life's unexpected twists and turns come our way. It's easy to lose ourselves in the process, but what if losing ourselves is exactly what we need to find our true selves? Join us as we dive into the depths of human experience, sharing stories, insights, and conversations that will challenge, inspire, and maybe even help you find your way again. Sometimes you have to lose yourself. Let's get started.